We are back at Bowlero for our 5th event in our Summer Challenge series here on Spectrum Sports. I'm Phil Brylo, bringing you the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout. 4 young players have emerged from our qualifying round. We'll be battling on a 37-foot oil pattern to see who takes home that $100 Visa gift card for first place today. Spare shooting going to be a premium, very tough pattern out on the lanes today. And we're going to be back with that first semifinal from here at Bowlero in Wauwatosa.
So what's it going to be tonight? Be the crew that rolls deep. Be Lord of the Lanes. Be your alter ego. Be unfiltered. Be a strike dance machine. Be that guy. Be ballsy. Be 12 pounds of fury. Be superstitious. Be granny style. Be any style. Hey, it's your night. Be bold.
Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
First semifinal from Bowlero, the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout. Our 5th of 6 regular season Bowlero Summer Challenge events here on Spectrum Sports. Courtney Ermish, Nick Hagen battling it out in this first semifinal. Both these young players just averaging a little under 200 to make it to the TV show on this very tough 37-foot oil pattern. Ermish, you'll see playing a very direct line through the front part of the lane and leaves the 2-8. This pattern is sport compliant, but for those of you that are familiar with the PBA patterns, such as Wolf and Cheetah, where the shorter patterns have a little more of an oil concentration towards the outside of the lane, where the little bit of a wall of oil is around 4th, 3rd board. This pattern more around 7th, 8th board, where the oil pattern concentration changes. Still about 2.5 to 1 on the oil ratio. But you'll either see players using very tame equipment, getting in around first arrow, maybe even a board or two inside, like you saw there with Ermish. Or you can see a bowler like Nick Hagen, who can use a little more aggressive piece of equipment with a little more ball speed. And we'll see Nick take a little bit more of a scenic route to the lane. And that time, looks like Nick using urethane, so he makes the last second change from practice. Goes to the urethane ball that doesn't have as much movement on the back end, and you see the weak 10-pin left as the 6-pin just slides into the flat gutter. Not a strong roll at finish on that bowling ball for Hagen. It should be the easy cross-lane spare. Polyester in hand, and no problem for Hagen covering up the 10-pin. Once again, thanks to Bowlero, Dan Patterson, Dan Schuett, Angie Lamb, and all of their staff here at Bowlero. A $100 Visa gift card goes to the winner of our TV show today. $50 Visa card for second, $25 for the bowlers that lose their semifinal matches. And Hagen may need to rethink that line or ball reaction. Once again, the ball makes that early turn with urethane, but really has nothing left for movement on the back end. And you see that ball not make it back to the head pin. And the tough 1-2-4-10 washout. About a 50% conversion rate for a player of Hagen's ability. Cross lane polyester, and almost gets the lucky break with the 2-pin coming back off the sideboard to try to take out the 10. And an open frame for Hagen could leave Ermish in the driver's seat early. As you see a 2-pin come off the sideboard, miss the 10-pin by about 6 inches for Hagen. Ermish In 63 games of collegiate competition, all on tough PBA type conditions, averaged 190 for Robert Morris this last season, but an errant shot there. That ball simply dead pull left for Ermish, and the good break with the 4-pin getting knocked out on that leave. She can use that 9-pin to her advantage, take the 6-pin, slap it off the 9, throw it into the 7. That ball's gonna go behind the 6-pin, and that leaves Ermish in a 2-pin hole early against Nick Hagen. I want to thank Joe Serrar, Bowlers Pro Shop of Milwaukee, once again for their continued sponsorship of our shows, and they're also bringing you the next telecast here from Bowlero with the Bowlers Pro Shop Youth Classic. Footwork issue. Ermish on that shot, not a lot of leverage, and that's why you see the weak 10. She managed to keep that ball on target line. Let's take a look again. She's checking the sole of her shoe right there, but I think it's more of a timing issue. Yeah, you see long slide for Ermish. That ball having to get through in a hurry with the timing issue, and no way for her to get the proper rotation on that shot. However, once again, Pally has the ball in hand, like you see for so many young players cross lane at the spare. And one thing I really like to see with these young players that we didn't see for a long time, we always had guys throwing it hard and straight, ladies picking up their speed, throwing it straight, and sometimes they'd sacrifice a little accuracy with ball speed. And these young players know just a matter of knocking that single pin down. No need to pick up your ball speed from what you're normally throwing on your strike shot, help you stay more consistent from shot to shot. And no love by the head pin for the 10. You see the smirk on Hagen's face on the way back. And once again, the amount of deflection that urethane ball is providing, not working to Hagen's advantage. Tried staring down the 10 pin, didn't work for him. Just a matter of keeping the focus, getting into conversion, and moving on in this match. No problem there on the conversion for Hagen. Don't forget about your Summer Games Pass. It's not too late to get in here at Bowlero. One low price gets you 3 games of bowling for the rest of the summer every day through Labor Day weekend. Check out bowlsummergames.com to get all that information and buy your Summer Games Pass, or buy it in person here at Bowlero in Wauwatosa. 2-pin advantage for Hagen. 4th frame. Gets that ball in the face nicely on lane 69. And takes all 10 down. Ermish wanted to thank her mom, Dawn, her dad, Mike, for all they've done in her bowling career. And recently, Courtney just wrapped up her fast pitch softball career as well. A lot of success in the high school and club team ranks in fast pitch for Ermish over the years, and she's a little upset with herself with the crossover strike. You have to take it. USBC rules do not allow for any type of mulligans or any different count for a crossover that knocks all 10 pins down other than a strike. Ermish, high 5 gear, 5th frame. Has that stylish high 5 gear jersey on now. Looking to get the $25 gift certificate. 2-pin does the job on the 4. And $25 good for any high 5 gear fashionable accessory or jersey. It's in the back pocket for Courtney Ermish. You see a lot of our young ladies on our Spectrum Sports telecast wearing skirts as they bowl nowadays. High 5 gear can also provide matching skirts for the jerseys they provide for young women. And nothing but a pull to the left there as Hagen tries to help that ball out a bit on lane 70. Easy to do. That lane just isn't hooking as much as lane 69 is. And about an 80% conversion rate on the baby split for players of Huggins' capability, no problem on the cover. Still finds himself in the hole by 8 pins after Ermish took advantage of that crossover strike in the 4th frame, the pocket strike in the 5th. Haugen, that nice relaxed setup. You see that right shoulder well below the left helps maximize the height of that backswing along with the shoulder turn, and a pocket strike gets us into our first commercial break of the day here from Bowlero. Join us for the rest of this second semifinal as we have the bowlers roll through this break. Back at Bowlero for our first semifinal in the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout. I'm Phil Brylow bringing you all the action. Had our bowlers roll through the commercial break. Ermish ends her strike string at 2. She goes high, leaves the 6-10. Gets the conversion in her half of the 6th frame, steps up in the 7th. Once again, comes up high, almost gets a huge break to take out the 6-10. Leaves just the 6. And that solid spare game we've seen out of Ermish for many years keeps the lead in her favor. But not for long as Nick Haugen steps up in the 7th frame, puts his own double on the board to take the lead, and adds on to that lead in the 8th frame. As Haugen going with a little more ball speed, a little more direct with that piece of urethane in his hand, puts up 3 in a row and takes a 15-pin lead over Courtney Ermish. Just 2.5 frames remaining in this opening semifinal. Second semifinal coming up, Mitch Ortlieb, Zach Sasser battling out a lefty-righty battle, Sasser being the left-hander. Ermish looking to stay close in this match, gets a little bit of a break there. You saw the ball deflect when he got into the 1-3 pocket, but just enough on the 6-pin to get to the 10, and that may have actually been the 3-pin getting to the 10. As the 3-pin deflects off the 9, takes the 10 out, so Ermish knows if she steps back up on that lane in the 10th frame, she's going to have to make sure that ball gets into a little stronger roll to get through the pocket. Looking to knock the lead down to 5 for Haugen. Blows the 5 into the 7. Great shot and a clutch double for Ermish. She keeps herself in contention. 220 her maximum at this point. Problem is Haugen, his maximum 235, and Haugen can really get himself in the driver's seat here with a foundation frame strike. Haugen, 2 300 games to his credit. He just finished his junior year at UW Whitewater, and that ball, you saw his elbow come over the side just a little bit small, as they call it, chicken wing, as he tried giving that one a little bit extra rotation, just not strong for Haugen. And you see the deflection, lucky to get the 8-pin out. Still a very choppable spare with the 2-5 combination. Haugen's going to go with polyester. Try to take any chance of a chop out of play. Goes very direct. Gets both pins with the ball and a clutch spare to maintain that small lead. Just 3 pins getting into the 10th frame. Problem is Haugen cannot shut out Ermish. Haugen's maximum is 213. Ermish max 220. And Nick wanted to thank his good friend Brent Boho for not being at this tournament. Boho at Junior Team USA camp in Arlington, Texas, as this event was being taped, and a great shot there by Haugen. Still have that chance at 213 and have the chance at the unlimited weekday play laser tag gift certificate from Sabre Laser Tag in Pewaukee for the 10th frame Sabre strikeout. Boho, we've seen on many of our shows, he's having a very successful youth and collegiate career, and that youth career will be coming to an end shortly, as Brent will be turning 21 years of age. Good shot there by Haugen, not enough in the pocket, however. A little light in the pocket leaves the week 10 pin. And the spare here, not a huge deal for Hagen. He'll give him 203 with the spare. But that is going to force Courtney Ermish to get the first strike in the 10th frame to have any chance of winning. Regardless of what Hagen does on this ball. Just tickles the 10 down. 203 in the books for Nick Hagen. And Ermish needs to strike first ball of the 10th frame to have her chance to advance into the championship match. And you really can't blame Ermish for taking a little extra time on the shot. She knows the situation on the scoreboard. And you see Hagen going back to talk to our two combatants in the next match, Sasser and Ortlieb. Now they are all just left as being spectators. It's up to Ermish to strike to advance. 4 steps to the line. Great shot on target line. Textbook. Oh my. That's the 3-pin, ladies and gentlemen. And you see the reaction out of Hagen and Sasser and Ortlieb. They cannot believe that 3-pin still stood on a perfect pocket shot. And watch, Ermish never saw it. She knew she was in the pocket. She turned around. She never saw that 3-pin stand. In our 11 years of bowling here on Spectrum Sports, I've never even come close to seeing a worse break for a bowler to lose a match on such a great shot. Nick Hagen, on an immensely bad break for Courtney Ermish, is going to advance into our championship match. We'll see who will be battling in that championship when we come back with our second semifinal between Mitch Ortlieb and Zach Sasser from Bowlero in Wauwatosa.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com.
An unbelievable finish to our opening match. Nick Hagen advances to the championship match here at the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout as we get ourselves into semifinal number 2. Mitch Ortlieb, Zach Sasser. Sasser, our qualifying leader, averaging just over 208. Ortlieb averaging 194. And a big break there for the two-hander as Ortlieb gets the 2-8 to roll out and takes down the first frame strike. Both these players using urethane on this unique 37-foot pattern.
Oh, just punch it in.
Making sure they control the 23-foot of dry on the back end, especially with the rev rates both of these young players have. See Sasser playing much straighter through the front part of the lane. And sometimes that's the give and take with urethane. We saw that with Nick Hagen in the opening match, where you can make your way around the pocket relatively easily, but the ball has to retain enough energy to drive through the pocket properly. And the 4-pin does not do the job on the 7 for Sasser. Sasser stays with the urethane. That's pulled to the right and hooks away from the 7-pin. And a couple of other previous appearances Sasser has made, that 7-pin has really made the difference in some matches. With a failed conversion back in the Top Gun earlier in 2018, Sasser lost out on his chance to advance to the finals in that event on a missed 7-pin. See what he can do to get back striking in the second frame. That time a little different than the shot on lane 70, the ring 7. Ball hits a little stronger through the pocket. However, it doesn't quite face up in time. 4-pin up and around the 7. And now it's just time to refocus. Make sure you put the spare on the board so you don't fall behind too early. Sasser with the conversion. Ortlieb, we saw him earlier this summer here at Bowlero on another short pattern. That time we were on a 35-foot pattern. But Ortlieb struggled in the championship match against Jeremy Hodgson and did not take home the title in the Bowlero Spring Challenge event. So we know Mitch Ortlieb likes events that are titled with Bowlero in the title, and we know he likes short patterns here at Bowlero. However, that time you see the little hop in the footwork at the foul line, and this time the 2-8 does not roll out. Ortlieb left with just the 8-pin on the conversion. And he'll hook at that 8-pin, no problem. Covering up the spare. Ortlieb, former teammate of Nick Haugen, not just at UW-Whitewater, but also for Sussex Hamilton and that team that had a lot of success in the 2012, 2013, 2014 seasons in high school bowling club competition. And that's the issue we saw with Ortlieb when he made the Bowlero Spring Challenge show. He gets a little issue with the timing and footwork, and the way he keeps his shoulders open late through the bottom of that swing on the short pattern forces the ball out to the right. And you see, as soon as that ball was out of his hand, he was watching it, begging for it to stay on the lane. And now he's going to make a ball change on the spare. This ball, still urethane, but it's going to hook a little more aggressively than the other urethane he had. And watch that ball peel off and just doesn't quite get the 10 down. We'll have to see when Ortlieb steps up in the fourth frame if he sticks with that blue urethane ball as compared to the black one. And you can see there how much earlier that ball started rolling up to go with that couple of boards left. Ortlieb was at the beginning part of the lane, and a great ball there by Sasser slices right by the 8-pin, nothing near the 8 to try to topple it over. Sasser has to be somewhat happy right now. 3 for 3 in the pocket. Problem is, 0 for 3 on carry. And the only thing that has him ahead in this match is the gutter ball on a spare that Ortlieb had in his half of this third frame. Gives Sasser the lead by 9 pins. Sasser just graduating from high school. He'll be attending UW-Whitewater as a freshman in the fall. Does a lot of his bowling at Lakes Bowl, just across the border from Trever, Wisconsin, and Round Lake, Illinois. And the 4-pin taps the 7, doesn't knock it over. And one may have to figure that Sasser might be looking at a ball change in the near future. Unable to get 7-pin down 3 out of 4 shots here in his semifinal match. Sometimes it's tough to change bowling balls while you're in the lead in the match. Don't want to make a big change and all of a sudden have a couple of opens back to back and let your opponent in. See Ortlieb taking an extra second there, stretching the limbs out, making sure everything's nice and relaxed. It's always tough to come back off a gutter ball on the first delivery of a frame. Not just physically, but mentally as well, and especially here under the TV lights. And once again, the footwork issue for Ortlieb. And I don't believe that's the sole of his shoe. That's just holding the ball a little long. You get a little nervous under the TV lights, and all of a sudden you try to force it through at the bottom of your swing. Just sends your center of balance out to the right in a right-handed bowler's case, and they have to fall off the shot in order to save the ball on target line. And another error by Ortlieb, and most of the errors we see from Mitch on TV, I hate to say it, but it's the ones between the ears. He just gets that little soft on the spare attempt, a little tentative instead of staying aggressive, and that ball overhooks into the 2-pin. Has no chance of getting the 8-pin out from behind the 2. Now here's the high 5 gear 5th frame, hangs it out over the gutter, and we talked about how that oil line sits in about 6th, 7th board, where it starts to get that little bit of a higher concentration. That ball out to 2nd, 1st board even. Not as much oil out there, really overhooks with that urethane. And now with just the 5-pin. Interesting that Ortlieb goes with the polyester ball, hooking at it for the 5-pin, but comfort is a factor with spare shooting. We see that a lot. And you get to see the PBA Tour on national TV. You can see players like Norm Duke still staying with their strike ball, just flattening it out when they shoot at 10 pins. Sasser in his half of the high 5 gear 5th frame, looking for his first strike of the game, and that one just quick out of the hand. He tried to save it, but projected it a little farther left. Combine that with the use of urethane and how quickly that ball is going to burn up energy off the end of this 37-foot oil pattern. No chance for that ball to get to the head pin, and now this could really change the momentum of the match. Sasser fails to convert this washout. And gave it a little extra on the bottom, trying to get that ball to hook across into the 1-3. Have the head pin shoot back into the 7. Unfortunately for Sasser, throws a great pocket shot when he doesn't need it. Right in that 1-2 pocket, but you see the deflection on that bowling ball. We'll have to see if Sasser tightens up the line, picks up the ball speed. I think that's going to be his key to success right now. A little more point A to point B. The ball speeds up. And a great shot there to get into the commercial break for our second semifinal. Join us back here from Bowlero. We'll have the bowlers once again bowl through this break for the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout. I'm Phil Brylow back at Bowlero for the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout second semifinal. We had the bowlers continue bowling through the commercial break to stay on time here on Spectrum Sports. Mitch Ortlieb, still a bit of a footwork issue, crosses over once again. This time leaves the 6-pin. Cross lane with the polyester for the spare. No problem covering up the spare in his half of the 6th frame, but he still finds himself behind in the match by 6 pins. Tough spare in the 7th with the 3, 6, 9, 10. However, the conversion with the polyester ball leaves Ortlieb somewhat close in the match. Sasser says, enough of that. I'm going to put up more strikes in the 7th and an additional strike in the 8th frame to get his string out to 3 in a row. And that deficit for Ortlieb suddenly goes from 6 pins to 30 pins. That string by Zach Sasser. Once again, I want to thank Barbier's Restaurants, both on Blue Mountain Road and in South Milwaukee, on Milwaukee Avenue, for all their support over the years here on Spectrum Sports. Best garlic bread in Wisconsin, in my opinion, at Barbier's. Ortlieb steps up, tries playing a much tighter line in the 8th frame, picks up the ball speed, unfortunately crawls a bit high, and Ortlieb starting to run out of frames in this match to try to have any chance to advance to the championship against his teammate, high school and college, Nick Hagen. And Ortlieb gets the cover. Finds himself down by 31, though. Maximum score 181 for Ortlieb. Sasser pacing at 182 if we were to go spare strike spare in the 9th and 10th frames. Must strike in the foundation frame here for Ortlieb. And that ball sails past the pocket. You see the confusion on Ortlieb on the way back, thought moving deeper, and using a little more of a direct line would help that ball stay on pocket. Problem is, ball lost energy immediately at the end of this pattern and had nothing left at that 1-3 pocket. Lucky he didn't leave the 4 or 7 pin with that 5. And slow roll at the 5 pin for Ortlieb. And one would think his fate has been sealed. The maximum score of 170. That's just going to leave Sasser needing a mark in either the 9th or 10th frames to advance to the championship match. Try to take home that $100 Visa gift card. Thanks to our hosts here at Bowlero and Wauwatosa. And Sasser gets a bit of a wall shot break there. Head pin came back off the sideboard, twirled around into the 5 and barely took it down. Watched it on the replay. You don't see a wall shot much in bowling during this modern era. Back in the day with hard rubber bowling balls on lacquer surfaces or polyester bowling balls on wood surfaces with urethane finishes, you might see a few more wall shots out of players, but with the strength of these modern bowling balls and the strength of these modern players, as you can tell there by Sasser leaving that 6-8 from that extreme outside angle, wall shot doesn't come into play much in the modern game. Well, Sasser can't be happy about leaving a 6-8 in the 10th frame, takes away any chance he has at the Sabre strikeout for the unlimited weekday laser tag certificate. But with that 188 game, Sasser is going to advance into the championship match against Nick Hagen. And one thing about all these young players on our show today, all academic standouts at their high schools and colleges they attend. Mitch Ortlieb, once again named to the Dean's List at UW-Whitewater. And Whitewater having one of the highest team grade point averages on both the men's and women's side in college bowling. So not only do those young players at Whitewater have to pay for their own college education as being a Division III program for the women, a club program for the men, but they are also key on their academics as well. Championship match coming up, Zach Sasser against Nick Hagen from Bowlero. We'll see who takes home the $100 Visa gift card from the Bowlero Summer Shootout after this break. Championship match here at Bowlero in Wauwatosa, 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout. I'm Phil Bryant will bring you all the action. Nick Hagen catching the break of the decade to advance into this championship match after Courtney Ermish leaves a pocket 3-pin. Strange as that sounds, to let Hagen through to this championship match. Hagen battling Zach Sasser, and Hagen starting his second life in this tournament with a great pocket strike. See, Hagen has really picked up the ball speed and kept the ball on a straighter line to the pocket than he did during the initial part of his opening match against Courtney Ermish. Zach Sasser took down Mitch Ortlieb 188 to 149. Relatively smooth sailing for Sasser until a 6-8 in the 10th frame. And that ball, Sasser gave it a little extra on the bottom. Ball revs up early, goes high, and lucky to leave just the 2-pin to try to convert. Sasser 3 opens to go against 4 strikes in that 188 opening game on TV today, but those 4 strikes happen to be in a row in the 6th through 9th frames, and that's what got him the cushion to get past Mitch Ortlieb into this championship match. Once again, $100 Visa gift card on the line, thanks to our friends here at Bowlero. And don't forget to pick up that Summer Games Pass. Bowl 3 games a day, every day for the rest of the summer here at Bowlero in Wauwatosa. can buy a pass for yourself, a pass for your children, and really have a good time all summer long. Especially if you're looking to improve like these young players are. It's a great way to take advantage for very little money. Sasser once again coming high. This time leaves a 7-pin with the 2-pin. Should be about an 80% conversion rate for bowlers of these two players' calibers to convert baby splits. Right up the outside part of the lane, textbook conversion for Sasser. However, if Hagen can start with an early double or 3-bagger, will put Sasser into a position he really hasn't seen all day long, and that would be trying to catch up from behind. Sasser ahead in almost his entire match in our second semifinal against Ortlieb. Good down the target line, however, that ball labored just a little bit. Thought maybe he'd get the 4-pin to fall forward into the 2, but it just stands and wiggles for Hagen. He thought that ball was pretty good out of his hand. One thing he has to remember, though, coming back on this pair is that Ortlieb was throwing urethane as well as Hagen was, so that's going to make some changes. A little more drastic to the lane, and wow, that is a rare whiff by Hagen. Contacts no pins on that spare attempt, and an early 12-pin deficit now in play for Nick Hagen. Hagen knows he has a little more hook available to him on lane 69. We usually see lane 69 hook a board or two more on all these lane patterns. And lane 70 does. On line and scrambles the rack. 10 down in Hagen's third frame. Zach Sasser wanted to make sure he thanked a couple of his coaches, Kevin Bell, Bob Voigt, and Randy Clark, for all their help improving his bowling over the last few years. Sasser started bowling when he was 3 years old, so already a wily veteran. And unfortunately for Sasser, the move he thought he could make there to get back in the pocket causes the ball to hook up more. Gets the lucky break to get the crossover strike. And I think a bigger move, most likely, with the feet going to the right for Sasser and picking up the ball speed slightly, is what he'll need to keep that ball on the left side of the pocket. And he's going to need an even bigger move. Barely trips the 6 down. Huge double early to get the 22-pin advantage for Sasser. But Sasser, the only one affecting his lane play all day long on the left side of that lane. Should be interesting to see what type of move he makes to try to continue the string strikes. Hagen looking for a double here in the fourth. Uses a little loft to try to get the ball to hook a bit harder down lane. But the 6-pin fails to take down the 10. And once again, the give and take of urethane, easier to keep the ball on target line on these shorter patterns, but because that ball rolls up earlier than reactive resin, uses its energy a little farther away from the pocket and causes those flat 10s to come out and occur. Stares down that 10-pin, but Hagen finds himself down by 22. I want to thank Phil and Patty Yanko of Castle Lanes in Racine for all their support. Looking forward to having a couple events there in the fall of 2018. And of course, our high school players always looking forward to the Midwinter High School Classic on New Year's Eve at Castle Lanes. That tournament sold out the last couple of years. We'll get information on that tournament out to college coaches and high school coaches shortly. Bad break there for Hagen as he tries to rattle the rack around. Unfortunately, headpin comes off the sideboard, prevents the 4-5 from getting into the 7 zone. And now Hagen finding himself in a bit of trouble here. And he fails to get the $25 high five gear gift certificate on a reasonably good toss. Dead straight on that 7-pin, covers it up. 23 pins now the lead for Sasser. And Sasser steps up in his half of the high five gear 5th frame. Sasser going to be an incoming freshman at UW-Whitewater. 300 games to his credit. A high series of 792. Up the outside. That misses a little to the left and does not recover. 2-4-5. Not an easy spare combination here for Sasser, as he tries to maintain his advantage. Let's see what he'll do on the spare attempt. I thought maybe he'd switch the polyester ball possibly, but he's going to try to go a little more direct with his urethane. And one thing you always have to keep in mind as a left-hander, possibility of chopping 3 off the 5. And he gets just across enough of the 3-pin to send the 3 into the 5. Ball takes out the 6. And the advantage stays at 20 pins for Sasser as we get into the second half of this championship match. Sasser, when he's down on the lanes, likes to do a little hunting and riding his motorcycle. Some good weather in Wisconsin to do that over the last couple of weeks. And Sasser needs that one to hold off pocket. It does. 4-pin lazy once again. And the only thing keeping Sasser ahead at this point in time is keeping the score sheet clean. Only 2 strikes in his first 6 frames. The spare here will keep his advantage. At 19 pins, getting into our last commercial break of the day. That tall stature of Sasser, that long, lean follow through. No problem covering up that 7-pin, and we're into our last break of the day. Can Nick Hagen mount a charge in the second half of this game? He's going to bowl through the commercial break, and we'll give you that update on our return from Bowlero. Back at Bowlero for the 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout Championship match. Had our players roll through the commercial break to stay on time. Nick Hagen down by almost 20 pins, gets up in his half of the 6th frame, comes up light again on lane 70, this time leaving the 2-4-5-8. Trouble on the conversion again on the left side spare for Hagen, only taking down 2-5. Hagen bounces back in the 7th frame, puts a strike on the board. Once again, Zach Sasser in the commercial break. We saw it in his semifinal match against Mitch Ortlieb. Puts up a big double to maintain a large lead. Sasser strikes in the 7th and here in the 8th. And now Nick Hagen in a world of trouble, as he's down by 45 pins into Hagen's half of the 8th frame. Hagen can still finish with 219. However, Sasser pacing her right now at a 2-teen pace with strikes and spares the rest of the way off the score sheet. So Hagen definitely in a must-double situation here in his 8th frame, and he's really struggled with getting the ball to come up on this tighter lane. He helped that one out a ton, and he knows a huge break on the crossover strike as he wipes his brow on the way back. That is the only thing keeping him alive in this tournament, as Hagen easily pulled that ball 3 or 4 boards left of where we had seen him on his previous 2 shots on lane 70. And the huge break still keeps the 209 possibility alive for Hagen. And this is the shot of the summer right here. Lane 69 for Hagen. 5 steps to the line, the long follow through, and once again a pull to the left trying to help that ball out a little bit. Lucky to break up the split, but his tournament looking like it's done. as that now would knock Hagen's maximum score down to 187. And even if Zach Sasser were to go 9 miss, 9 miss, his 9th and 10th frames, Sasser would still be in the low 190s. So it's going to take huge mistakes by Sasser to give Hagen any chance in the 10th frame. Sasser, huge double in the 7th and 8th. Trying to keep the string rolling and lock up this event. He gave that one extra on the bottom, and he slices through the nose. 4-6 is the count. Best thing to do right here for Sasser, make sure you get one. If you get one, that puts you at 180 in the 9th frame, and then you would just need 8 pins on 2 shots to shut out Hagen. And wow, that is a big error. He's always working on the strike. Every pin you miss on that strike counts for 2 on the score sheet as it adds in. And now Sasser, he gets 9 pins in total on the 10th frame. That would allow Hagen to strike out to tie, so a must mark to lock up this championship for Zach Sasser in the 10th frame. And boy, does momentum change quickly in this sport. He's right at target again. And another split. And in 2 frames, this match has gone from a sure thing for Sasser to possibly having to get into a roll-off and sudden death. That's assuming Sasser gets 1 on this spare. Let's see if he took a look at the scoreboard. I think he knows the situation now. Knows he needs to focus and get 1, which he does for the 187. And now you see Nick Hagen looking up at the scoreboard, and he can't believe he might have his 2nd huge break of the day, the huge break against Courtney Ermish, to even get to the championship match. The crossover strike in the 8th frame to put a double on the board to give him the chance to strike out in the 10th and force this championship into a sudden death roll-off. 1-ball roll-off to break the tie. You can't blame Hagen for taking a little extra time off the approach, making sure everything's set. Steps to the line. He gave that one a little extra on the bottom once again. And that little extra loft delays the hook, doesn't come up to the pocket. And with that 2-4-10, Zach Sasser is going to take home his first title in this Bowlero Summer Challenge Series. Jeremy Hodgson right now, our leader, with 2 titles. It's going to be interesting to see how this Bowlero Summer Challenge Series wraps up on our next couple of telecasts. Bowlers Pro Shop Youth Open next, and our Grand Championships for the boys and girls coming up in August here on Spectrum Sports. And I'll be back to wrap up this 2018 Bowlero Summer Shootout after this short break. Why just watch the action when you can be part of the action at Sabre Laser Tag in Pewaukee? Take the challenge in one of 2 5,500 square foot arenas. Battle it out with family and friends using realistic military-style weapons. Come out and celebrate a birthday. Bring out your employees or coworkers for team building. Or take advantage of our specials running Monday through Thursday. Check us out on the web at sabertag.com. Our championship match of the Bowlero Summer Shootout, momentum became a fickle beast at the end of the match. Zach Sasser looked well in control, getting into his 9th and 10th frames of that championship match. However, a 4-6 split in the 9th frame, followed up by a 6-7 split in the 10th, left Nick Hagen the opportunity to step up in his 10th frame and throw 3 strikes to force a single ball roll-off. However, Hagen, a little quick getting the ball out of the hand on his first shot in the 10th frame, left the 2-4-10 combination and then handed the title and the $100 Visa gift card for the Bowlero Summer Shootout to Zach Sasser. Our next telecast, our final regular Summer Challenge Series event, 2018 Bowlers Pro Shop Youth Open. Young players taking to the lanes on a tough 41-foot pattern. We'll have to see what 4 players make that telecast as all of our young bowlers try to qualify for our Grand Championships coming up here in August on Spectrum Sports. I'm Phil Brylow. Parents, take the kids bowling because they will have fun for life, and it's a great way to bond with the family during these hot days of summer.